So, as I said towards the end of last session, let's try to decipher Guruji's practice. Now, those who have experienced Guruji, they have common, general, universal understanding, very strong person, strongly willed, determination, resoluteness, energy. This is how we all have read him. But we have not understood the material of Guruji. We will never understand. By looking at him, by moving with him for a couple of days and couple of weeks and months, no one would understand material of Guruji. So let me start today by saying, you all know he is Iyengar. Iyengar is not a surname. Iyengar is not a family name. Iyengar is a caste. And he belonged to a very orthodox family. No one saw him in 1935, 36, 37. Those who saw him then are not living today. They only saw him in 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. But he hailed from a very orthodox family. Iyengar is a caste of a particular religious background called Sri Vaishnavism. And he came from very orthodox family. Indians would know what is Vaishnavism. We know Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Shaktism. But that is Sri Vaishnavism. So if you can get some idea, I don't know how many of you have read Ramayana and Mahabharata of Sri Rajagopalachari. It's one of the very popular texts. Those who are interested in Indian culture, it's a must. They must read Ramayanam and Srimad Mahabharatam, briefly written down by Sri Rajagopalachari. And Sri Rajagopalachari was his relative on maternal side, Guruji's mother's side. And on Guruji's father's side, his ancestors, one of the ancestors, in 13th century, composed a kind of composition which is even today rendered every day without fail in the shrine of Tirupati. Early morning 4:30, it is called Suprabha seva. That is still recited, chanted every day, invariably, without fail. And that was composed by Guruji's ancestors in 13th century. And therefore, our family came to know by his name, his title rather. He was engaging himself in debates, philosophical debates. And he was a formidable person to be debating with. Everyone got defeated while debating with him. And therefore he was given a title called Prativa di Bhayan karam. A terror to any opponent. Prativadi. He was terror to any opponent. Of course, in polemics, in debates. He was invincible. He was such a sagacious, wise person. And the family came to know, our family has come to know from his name, title rather. So that is his background. Try to imagine anyone, very orthodox person in 1935, very orthodox person, imagine if you can. It will be very difficult for present generation, even Indians, to imagine. Guruji was having tuft, a Brahmin. Therefore, a tuft. ज्याला शेंडी म्हणता, शेंडीवाले ब्राह्मण. So nobody understands the cultural material that he had. They only saw by what he presented himself to be, what he projected to be in the world. And therefore, with this background, let me tell you, being very orthodox and philosophical background, both on father's side and mother's side. Incidentally, Sri Rajagopalachari was the first Governor General of independent India. 1947. After independence, the first Indian Governor General was Sri Rajagopalachari. And he was related in maternal connections. That is my father's mother's side. Anyway, that means, therefore, when he says he was a philosopher while he was practicing, we don't understand the fabric of his consciousness, the material of his consciousness. So when he said he was dharma, he was philosopher, as I said earlier, what is to be on the line of philosophy is to be adhering the frame of four principles called dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Now this has no relevance to our yoga today. Will you relate your yoga to anything like dharma, artha, kama, moksha? So these are called chaturvida purusharthas. So to tell you for our generation, our people, let me tell you what is dharma. Because many of you will say, no, dharma is not for me. I don't practice dharma. Because you think dharma is ritualism. You think dharma is ritualism. But dharma is a wider concept. So what is dharma for us? We are human beings. Being human beings, we must be within a particular framework so that we do not violate the framework. Otherwise, human beings can easily become inhuman. Is that right? By our conduct, by our behavior, we can become inhuman. So what is dharma for at our plane of understanding? That we are given a framework, we remain within the frame, we don't violate the frame, we do not break the frame, so that we remain as human beings. Because it is only with reference to our species called human beings, we are prone to be inhuman. We are prone to be inhuman, we are vulnerable to be inhuman. We are also having inclination to be inhuman more often. Less often we are human beings, more often we tend to be, we are prone to, we are vulnerable to be inhuman. And therefore, we often come across this statement, somebody is doing inhuman activity, somebody is inhuman in behavior. Do you come across any in-cattish being, in-cattish cat, in-doggish dog, in-elephantish elephant, in-lionish lion, in-tigerish tiger, in-mosquitoish mosquito, in-buggish bug? Do you come across? We never come across. There might be rare exceptions, that is different thing, but generally they do not violate their dharma. Tiger being dharma, its dharma, it will not violate tigerness. Cobra will not violate cobra-ness. Lion will not violate lioness. The dog will not violate dogness. It is human beings who very often break the barriers, shackles, and we can be inhuman. That is why the dharma is given to mankind. There is no dharma shastra for subhumans. They don't need. The cat doesn't need to know what is cat dharma. The dog doesn't need to know what is dog dharma. Mosquito doesn't need to know what is mosquito dharma. The eagle doesn't need to know what is eagle dharma. Human being needs to know what is human dharma. That is why the day I said, we are never born as human beings. We are born as creatures, we have to become human beings. We have to become human beings. And therefore, as I said, human beings have academies. Have you come across any other dog academy, cat academy, cow academy, elephant academy, lion academy? They don't need. They go by their instincts, and the instincts keep them within the framework. They will not violate the framework. So we will never come across a cobra which is in-cobra-ish. We will never come across an elephant which is in-elephantish. But we will come across a human being who is inhuman. And for us to be humans, we have to go with certain rigorous regimens. It is not easy to be remaining human being and then becoming human being and then remaining to be a human being. Lifelong we have to practice some austerities. Lifelong we have to practice some discipline. Otherwise we quickly derail and we engage ourselves into inhuman activity. We are vulnerable, we are prone. The dog has never derailed from being dog. Any animal has never derailed from being what it is. Cow, animal, the cow, cattle, dog, cat, tigers, wild animals, insects, worms, birds, reptiles. They have never derailed, they never derail. We are prone to derail. So that which doesn't derail us is called dharma for us. Because some of you might argue, oh, I don't believe in dharma, I don't believe in prostration of dharma. You have to adhere to what is called as manava dharma. Is that right? Is there anyone who is what is called as heterodox person, profane? Is there any profane who says, I don't believe in human dharma? I don't bother, I'm a being, I'm just a life. I might be like a dog, I might be like a cobra, I can be like an elephant, I can be like whatever. So we want all to stick to human dharma. And that is why one of the foremost texts in our tradition is called Manava Dharma Shastra. Manava Dharma Shastra. It is known as Manu Dharma Shastra. Last time only I told about relationship between Manu, Manava, and Manava Dharma. So we will have to, it is quite a discipline to remain as human beings. For a dog to remain dog, no discipline. For cow to remain cow, no discipline. For elephant to remain elephant, no discipline, no problem, no austerity. Because they instinctively remain what they are. We don't instinctively remain as human beings. We have to carve human being every time. We have to carve ourselves to be human beings. Therefore, you should not indulge with what is called as dharma landa vritti. Many of you can be opposing dharma. You may not like someone advocating dharma. Somebody telling you practice dharma, be in dharma, you will say no, I will not. Because you have not understood the connotation. Dharma is not ritualism. Dharma is not a worship form, not necessarily a worship form, not necessarily a ritual or ritualistic practices, but just to remain as human being itself is dharma. That is why we have something called as Manava Dharma. We don't have any dharma for subhumans. So when Guruji was trying to put forward his ideas about yoga being dharma sadhana, no one was really prepared to take an insight into it. They thought it's just a statement. After all, what is yoga? Physical wellness, physical well-being. Maybe at the most, morality, ethicality. Morality, ethicality is all behavioral. Many of you think it is be all and end all to be a moral and ethically sound. Morality, ethicality is behavior. It's a mask. You put that mask when you move in people. When you are in society, you will try to think of morality, ethicality. When you are all alone, if you are isolated in Siberia, no human being around you, where is the question of morality, ethicality, tell me? So it is something social etiquette. That is not dharma. Dharma is not speaking about you practicing morality, ethicality. That's a must. Whether you are a spiritual person or mundane person, whether you are a businessman or whether you are a yoga teacher, some ethics is there. Morality is there. Medical ethics, business ethics. So suppose you are in teaching profession, do you embrace business ethics? But a businessman will embrace business ethics. A medical person will embrace medical ethics. A practicing lawyer will practice ethics of his profession. So each profession have their ethics. And therefore, merely practicing ethicality, morality, it is not dharma. So dharma means you are a human being. If you are a human being, don't you have any duties? You might be having a pet cat and pet dog. Try to put a question to dog. Dog, what is your duty? Is the dog aware of its duty? It might carry out its duty because you keep it at the gates. So it is better than a watchman. It will do its duty. But it is not aware of that as a duty. So any bird, animal, creature, insect, you cannot ask them a question, what is your duty? Do you have any duty in life? They will not be able to say anything as duty. They might carry out certain duty. The cattle carry out certain duties. Birds and animals carry out some duties, but they don't have duty consciousness. It is instinctive for them. They don't have to be duty aware. You don't make your dog at the gates duty aware at night. Hey dog, we are all going to sleep. So see that we are secured. Do you go and tell your dog? You don't have to tell. They have their own dharma which is instinctively practiced. And therefore they have dharma. Horse has a particular dharma. Horse, although might be looking little similar to donkey, is never akin to donkey in culture. It has its own culture. The donkey has its duty, horse has its duty. And it will carry out its duty. It doesn't need duty-mindedness. It is all instinctive. To whom should we tell the duty? We only need to tell duties to human beings. You don't go on telling duties to birds, animals, creatures, beasts, plants. They are also form of life. Do you tell the tree, please carry out your duty? It's a life form. You don't have to tell. Nobody need tell. They don't have a charter. Is there a charter for a botanical life? Is there a charter for cattle life? Is there a charter for animal life? Insect, etc.? No charter. Human beings have a charter. They are to be given a charter. So don't be averse of dharma, particularly young generation people. Young generation people, they have dharma landa vritti. That is called dharma landa vritti. They are antagonizers. They become aliens of dharma. I am young. I don't care of dharma. I will think of dharma when I am old, when my teeth have fallen, hair gone grey, limbs shaking, and then I will think of dharma. Nantar dev nantar karin. Many of you think that dharma means deva dharma. Tyala deva dharma म्हटलंय. You might be a profane. You may not believe in any God. No problem. Yet, you should not violate dharma. So to practice dharma, you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to believe in any sectarian practices. Because a modern young man will never be, it is not his cup of tea to be thinking about worship form. You may not be worshipping at all. But we are to be in Manava Dharma. So once a person asked a sagacious, wise man, I have no idea what is Dharma, what should I do? So basic and fundamental lesson he gave, Paropakarartha, live for Paropakara and never do any Para Apakara. This is the basic dharma. As human beings, we should not harm others and we should favor all. Now, for a common man, it is not possible to be favoring everyone. We have our favorites. This is my favorite, I will favor. This is not my favorite, I will not favor. I will disfavor. So if you want to practice that dharma, see that you have this, you do not be partial to anyone. Try to be impartial. Try to be even to everyone. Prevent yourself from para apakara, harming others. Stop or prevent or lessen or wean away from harming others. And paropakara, to the extent possible, try to do upakara for others. Even if you don't do, no problem. At least don't do apakara. उपकार जमला नाही करू नका, अपकार करू नका. So, dharma can come in so many ways. Basically, we have to see that we are duty aware. As a human being, we have a duty. As a citizen of a country, you have some duties. As a constituent of a society, you have a duty. As a family man, you have a duty. So you have duties towards your family, first family, extended family, your community, your society, your region, your nation, and then humanity. So our area of social life can extend from being very atomic family, nuclear family, me, my wife, my children. We have something to operate. There's a radius to operate in that nuclear family. Then you have your extended family. Many times it is extension of family if you include your parents. If you include your parents and grandparents, it becomes little extended family. Nuclear family, they don't have parents at all. They have only children. Me, my wife, my children. Little extended family, my parents, spouse's parents. So we have this awareness. We are given certain privileges whereby we can identify. If I ask you, can you show me your uncle? You will say, yes, I can point out my uncle. This is my uncle, this is my aunt. Go to a dog and ask, do you know your uncle? Do you know your cousin? Do you have a nephew? Do you have a niece? We all have that. We have a nephew, we have a niece, we have cousins, we have uncles, we have aunties. Ask any animal. Will they be able to identify? Don't they have? They do have. They do have uncles, aunties, cousins, brothers, sisters. Even they don't identify fathers and mothers. Once the puppy has become a dog, it doesn't know who is his mother. You ask a puppy, hey puppy, who is your father? Will it answer? You ask a kitten, hey kitten, who is your father? Will it answer? It will say, this is my mother. I have a mother. Is it possible that it has a mother but no father? Impossible. Biologically impossible. But it doesn't know. It need not know. Now many times we know but we disregard. This is what happens to human beings. I know my uncle, I disregard my uncle. I know my auntie, I disregard my auntie. If they are uncles and auntie, you have some duties toward them. If you get rights from them, then we'll identify. Yes, this is my uncle. Why? He wrote down his property of 10 crores on my name. I inherited property. I became successor of his 10 crore, 100 crore property. He is my uncle. Perhaps every year, if he is dead, perhaps he will do something on his death anniversary. Why? Because he wrote down 100 crores in my name. He wrote down his property, real estate on my name. If your uncle has not done it, you disregard. This is not Manava Dharma. You are given intelligence to identify. You have father, you have mother, you have grandparents, you have great-grandparents, you have uncles and aunties and your cousins and nephews and nieces, etc., etc. So you have extended families. The concept today has gone, second uncle. It is gone. My father's brother is my uncle. That's all. But we do not have extension in our times. With nuclear family, this is what has happened. But Guruji lived in joint family system. Now you cannot imagine, our generation people cannot imagine what is joint family system. His all brothers and sisters stayed together. His elder brother was nearly 30 years elder to Guruji. More than 30 years elder to Guruji. So his wife. So it's a family of 11 children, you know. So their spouses, their children, so they all stayed together. So it was a different culture in which he was brought up. And then what they practiced during those times in their house, being orthodox Hindu Brahmins, what they practiced was totally different. That was constituting his fabric. So, someone of Guruji's generation, dharma was very important. Your generation, my generation, maybe dharma is maybe extracurricular. If I time and inclination, I will look into it. I don't need it in my life. I don't need dharma in life. If I'm interested, I will look into it sometimes, leisure time. But that was very much in his life. The point is, dharma is to be aware of duties. Now, funny thing, you think dharma is only shackles. Why? It bounds you to duties. And that's why many people don't want to be getting close to dharma. Because dharma means duty-mindedness. But we don't understand the dynamics of it. If you have duties, you have rights. Without rights, you cannot be given duties. Not only are given rights, you are given some privileges. So don't you believe that if Guruji had a rich ancestry, and one of them was such a great philosopher who is still remembered today, after 7 centuries past, still remembered today, is it not privilege? If I am recognized by my ancestry, it's a privilege for me. So privileges come our way, we don't identify. Now sometimes if you are interested, I would suggest you look into a wonderful passage which comes from in all Vedas. All Vedas. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, Atharva Veda. All the Vedas. It's called Rudra Prashna. Rudra Prashna. Rudradhyaya. श्रावणामध्ये काही लोकांनी केला असेल, रुद्र केला, लघुरुद्र केला, हे महारुद्र करू शकतात. आता श्रावणामध्ये करू शकतात, करतात. Rudra. There the sage, the rishi goes ecstatic for what the divinity has done. He says, "Oh God, you have created everything for me from dust particle." Imagine if you have no dust particles, will you have field, grounds? If you don't have grounds and fields, will you have agriculture? If you don't have agriculture, will you have food? So he says, gratefully he acknowledges, "Oh God, you are given from dust particle to everything in the celestial space, stars and planets. I am privileged to be in your universe which is boundless. So he goes ecstatic in praising divinity, how much you have done. He says, the horses for me, the cats for me, the cattle for me, the birds for me, the dust for me, the pebbles for me, the stones for me, the mountains for me, the rivers for me, the oceans for me, the valleys for me, the clouds for me, the sky for me, the planets for me, the stars for me. Is it not true? Are we not privileged to have such a huge solar system family? We don't understand that we are privileged. As human beings, we have to identify we are privileged. We don't have to be told that you are a privileged person. Every one of us is a privileged person to have taken birth as human beings. We are highly obliged by the nature. We are obliged by all life, sentient, insentient creation. Jada Chetana Srushti, we are highly obliged to entire creation. Perhaps you will not imagine, today we have this moon and Indians are in special obsession for moon. We have fallen in love with moon because of the Chandrayaan 3. If the moon had not been there, what would have been the fate of our planet? You don't only say, oh, it's a night pleasure to sight a moon at night in the sky. Because of moon, we have seasons. Because of moon, we have vegetable world on the planet. It is the grace of moon because of which we have vegetation on the planet. Now, is that not a great endowment? Because of moon, we have the seasons. Modern physicists or modern scientists will not know. The seasons are because of the sun, they say. Because of the sun, you get summer. Because of the sun, you get winter. Those are seasons with reference to geophysical aspects. But the seasons which give rise to different plant life. So what kind of plants do you get in different seasons? They change. And the plants have so many values. You may not be eating the plants, but some life eats the plants. We don't go and eat the green grass. But cattle eat the green grass, then cattle give us milk. So the life form is highly obliged by the vegetable world. And that is because of the moon. Your body chemistry is under influence of moon. The body chemistry is under influence of moon. Your grey matter substance is under influence of moon. If the moon is not gracing you, you and me can become lunatic. Why the word lunatic in English? Why the word lunatic in English? What has it got to do with lunar? Because that is working for our brain substance. The moon keeps the balance. So in Science of Yoga, you are told about solar lunar energies and management of solar lunar energies. These are two forms of energies with which our mind, psyche, consciousness works. So, we do not know what moon does for us. So our philosophy tells us The moon, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adhyatmik. So the moon is called Soma Devata. Why that day is called Somavara? The first day of the week. Somavara, moon day. In English it has become Monday. Monday is because it is moon day. How did they realize it is moon day? We told them it is moon day. We told them it is Soma. It is Somavara. Soma means Chandra. Soma means moon. Therefore, they gave the name but did not give credits to us. This is what the West has done. We all go by GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. Is that right? What is GMT, Greenwich Mean Time? What is Greenwich Mean Time? 5.5 hours before our time. Why 5.5 hours before our time? Because our day commences with sunrise. So when we have sunrise, they have midnight. And they change the day because we change the day. They have no business to change the day midnight, 12 o'clock. Why did they started changing the day on midnight 12? Because we changed our day at sunrise. Our day commences with sunrise. And they just followed us because our day changed, tithi changed, the vara changed, the day changed. They also started changing at 12, and the whole world started following that. Greenwich Mean Time. They don't say why we are 5.5 hours behind India time. Why India is 5.5 plus, and why we are behind 5.5 hours. But they have made it Greenwich Mean Time because they are global emperors. The whole world came under their influence, and therefore the concept of GMT came. Anyway, that's our wisdom. So dharma was material in him, Guruji, which you did not identify. He only said flexible body, boneless body, strong will, determinate, very determined person, resolute person, come what may, will over matter, rough and tough person, highly energetic person, bubbling energies. Now we have concept of this powers. In mechanical engineering, they used to call horsepower, which later became cc, 100 cc, 500 cc, 2000 cc. Earlier it was horsepower. Because we knew that horsepower as it was a vehicle to ride in those days. The horse was used for traveling. And the horse has a pace and velocity and energy to run. So that's what the concept of horsepower. So somebody said to Guruji that your power is equal to 100 manpower. You are 100 manpower energy. Because 100 people will equal you in energy and strength. Or you equal energy and strength of 100 people. So you are 100 manpower human being. And we are all one manpower human being, or 0.75, or 0.5, or 0.25, or 0.10. This is our manpower. Is that right? So what was his dharma? To be aware of duties that come our way, rights that come our way, privileges that come our way, and responsibilities that come our way. So that is the concept of dharma for even a person who is not going to dive into dharma. For us, what is dharma? We should know that we are given rights, duties, privileges, responsibilities. So if you start considering these things and then try to carry out your life, you will be a dharmic person. So Guruji was doing that. Am I on the path of dharma? Or how that dharma was decided? What is my duty? What are my rights? What are my privileges? What are my responsibilities? We don't become aware of it. And let me tell you, Guruji found that this comes quite on the anvil while you practice yoga. Lately, I've been introducing that in my classes. That you become aware. They have rights. Your anatomy has a right. Your physiology has a right on your breath. They have rights on your mind. Mind has duties for them. Breath has duties for them. They have duties for breath. So they have mutually, for each other, have duties, rights, privileges, responsibilities. So in the dynamics of asanas, he realized this is a dharmic field. And therefore it dawned upon him when Bhagavad Gita in the first verse says, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveda yustavaha. What is Dharma kshetra? In Adhyatma, this is Dharma kshetra. That is the Adhyatmic meaning of the first verse of Bhagavad Gita. This is Kurukshetra. Kuru means karma. So our karma kshetra is this. Our dharma kshetra is this. That is why the word dharma kshetra, kurukshetra have come in Bhagavad Gita. That's this rahasya. So that is Gita rahasya, dharma kshetra. Spiritual meaning is our embodiment. So he traced embodiment as Kurukshetra. What is your field of work? Tell me when you are doing your asanas. Is your mat the field of work? Is the floor the field of work? It is your embodiment which is the field of work. It is the field in which you do your activities. Kurukshetra, Karma Kshetra. And then you also get Dharma Kshetra within your embodiment. Dharma Kshetra means doesn't say go to Alande and practice, go to Pandharpur and practice, go to Badrinath and practice, go to Kedarnath and practice your yoga. They are all Dharma Kshetras. But we are not told to go to Varanasi. We are not asked to go to Kanchi, Ayodhya. We are not asked to go to these places. Where is the Dharma Kshetra? It is the embodiment. That is how he started. It dawned upon him that this is my Kurukshetra. He did not say my field of work is my institute. It was not there before 75. He did not do any work. So that is how that aspect of dharma consciousness got manure and watering, and then the ideas for him evolved. So he was very conscious about what is my duty towards any person, every person that comes in my vicinity. What is my right towards my family, duty towards my family? What is my duty towards fellow people, fellow men and women in the society? So he was very conscious about. He understood that he even owed to his neighbors. Because in such a locality, there is no question of neighbors. We do not know if the neighbor has shifted, gone, new neighbor comes. But in old situation, in his house, in 1940s, we were knowing who is our neighbor. If I ask you who is your neighbor, maybe you will not know the name. But that was not possible in that situation in 1930s and 40s when we lived in Subhash Nagar, Purandare colony. We knew who are our neighbors. We all were closely knit. society. Whereas today you have apartment culture. What is apartment? Apart. Keep apart. Keep apart. And that's why this apartment culture, I don't know why this came in. It's very, very painful that we have got into apartment culture. It suggests be apart. It should be kicked away. That is definitely poisonous to our culture. I stay in this apartment. I stay in that apartment. Why? I'm staying apart from my neighbors. I do not know who is above me, who is below me, who is next to me. Or even I disregard. Or maybe just formal, hello, how do you do? That's all, and go away. Having little etiquettes. If you see your neighbor, hello, how do you do? Go away. I don't know, this question in English, how do you do is a question, don't solicit answers. If he says, how do you do? You say, how do you do? If you say, how do you do? How do you do? That's all. Why do you ask this question? You don't want to know. How do I do? Why do you ask me, how do you do? See the formalities. It's all semblance. It's all semblance. Anyway, so dharma is to be duty conscious. Do you have any duty towards others? Do you have any duty towards nature? So we were told about duty towards the nature also. That's why we had the concept of panchayagnas. Now, ritualistically, panchayagnas may not take place, need not take place, but in your conduct of life, you can certainly be in the yagna. You consider nature, you have privileges, you offer something to nature, you do something to nature, you regard the nature, you revere the nature, you are respectful to nature. Now see what has happened. With that I will be ending today. We landed on the moon, and now we are discovering there is potential water. Once we identify there is potential water, we are free to spoil it. We will try to create our colonialism will get onto the moon. What right do we have on the moon? But we will start, just as we have spoiled the nature of the planet. We have spoiled the nature of planet in last 50, 60 years. Water pollution, air pollution, sand, land pollution, everything pollution. We will take pollution to the moon. Why? Because we are consumeristic. Whether we can make a kind of colony in the moon, colonial aspects on the moon, let us take our colony there, let's stay Indians going there, Americans going there, everyone going there. Therefore, fact of the matter is, the dirtiest creature on the planet is human being. No animal creates so much dirt. You might be following hygiene, might be taking twice a bath, 3 times a day bath, clean, keep your body clean, but you create dirt all around. No creature, no animal creates dirt outside in the nature. We create a lot of dirt in the nature. That's why we need to inculcate Manava Dharma. Some decades back, this was a culture. People would clean their compound and pick up the dirt and see if nobody is in the neighbor's compound, pour it. In the neighbor's compound, across the wall. This is the human nature. So our nature is highly infectious. We only look at the infections coming from other animals, other worms and insects, etc. Oh, they give infection, they give infection. Being gives lots of infection to whole nature, everything around, every kind of life around. So human being is the greatest dirt generator, dirt creator life form on the planet. Other animals don't create dirt. Any tourist resort, what happens to plastics there? Mountains of plastics. Which animal carries plastics there? We carry plastic. And we spoil the nature outside. So in that sense, we are dirt creatures on the planet. No one is as much dirt creator than mankind. Take a tissue paper, clean your nose or clean any part of the body and throw it. Where do you throw? Outside your house. So you are spoiling the nature around. And therefore, Manava Dharma is so important idea to be understood. Now, Dharma is not one of the five. This is again interesting thing with which I will conclude. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. About Artha, Dharma Mulo Arthaha. There is Dharma in Artha. There is Dharma in Kama. There is Dharma in Moksha. It's like a thread running through the four Purusharthas. So we are given wonderful framework. The four Purusharthas are not given to other souls, other selves, which are subhuman or superhuman. We are only given Purusharthas. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So Dharma is not the first one. It is pervasive in the rest of the three. It runs through the rest of the three. One of the sutras of Kautilya Arthashastra, Dharma Mulo Arthaha, Arthashastra. Dharma Mulo Arthaha is one of the sutras. Now what is Artha? You think only money. No. Artha means means. You require means to be in Dharma. You don't have means, how will you practice Dharma? You don't have buddhi to be in Dharma. You don't have material resources to be in Dharma. How will you be in Dharma? You should be disposed to Dharma. You must have material for Dharma. Then you will be able to follow Dharma. The means for Dharma, that is Artha. Suppose you want to earn money. So I want to earn money by becoming a chartered accountant. I have to take education in commerce. I have to take education in audits and accounts. That is means. That is Artha. That is also Artha. पैसे कमवायला लागणारी बुद्धी, वृत्ती, क्षमता, it's all Artha. The qualification that you need to earn money, the trait that you need to earn money, the act that you need to do for earning money is Artha. Artha is not just money, don't mistake. Because they are the means for your sustenance of life. You earn money to sustain your life. So to earn whatever you need to be in Dharma is called Artha. Whatever to be in Kama, whatever means you require for Kama is Artha. So the means to be adhering to Dharma is Artha. Means to be adhering to the Kama is Artha. Means to adhere to Moksha is Artha. So this is how we will try to decipher. So Guruji was Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha aware. Now, you should know how much dharma is important. Do you want to be inhuman and gratify yourself? Is it right? Is it good? I want to just gratify my desires. I will be inhuman, I will gratify my desires. It's not right. It is not proper. You will be driven away. They will kick you away. The society will kick you away if you are inhuman to gratify yourself. So therefore, some precept in dharma must be inculcated. Don't be opposing dharma. At least embrace the dharma for this extent that I won't be inhuman. To be inhuman, I must do certain things, I must refrain from certain things. That itself is dharma. Do's and don'ts, to be human, is dharma. So find out if you can now get little idea as to what is dharma. So also Guruji was very much disciplined and dharma-minded in earning money. Otherwise he could have made fortunes. He did not do that. He also told us, give them 10 bits, you get 1 bit. If you are charging 100 rupees, give them worth 1,000 rupees. Don't charge 100 otherwise. So in these principles, dharma, artha, kama, moksha is the framework given by our tradition, our long lineage. And Guruji was adhering to all that. You can't just adhere to dharma without artha, kama, moksha. So next time, let us see, is really moksha required for us? No. Are you looking for moksha? No. You will say no. I say yes. Don't you want liberation from something? Don't you want to be free from something? You want somewhere freedom? Somewhere liberty? So you want freedom from somewhere. You want freedom from something. That itself is moksha. कुठून तरी सुटका हवे ना तुम्हाला. You are trying to put some efforts to be free from something. That itself is moksha. It's not moksha means what Adhyatma speaks about, going to Upanishad, look into moksha. He said, you are not born again. He said, I am not bothered whether I am born or I don't born. Moksha is sought by everyone. So let's try to understand what is artha, what is kama, what is moksha. That is the whole framework of dharma. Dharma should be looked at these 4 dimensions. Dharma as duty, right, etc., etc., and dharma coming in artha, dharma coming in kama, dharma coming in moksha, artha coming in the dharma, artha coming in kama, artha coming in moksha. So that's why it is such a thing. It's not 4 watertight compartments. Anyway, with that we will end the session today. So let's try to understand Guruji's background material, which was basically dharmic, and dharma means dharma, artha, kama, moksha. If he said, I was philosopher when I practiced, he was taking care of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. The 4 purusharthas, which are of his qualification, did he adhere to them? Anyway, thank you very much. Namaskar. I plan to finish within 1 hour. I have taken overshot by 4 minutes. Apologies. 6 पण मी नाही ओव्हरडोस होतो जरा. ओके.